Hi, this is Mercedes Warrick, and this is the first of the day and the I Am Mine. Welcome. It has been a very busy week. I have been the vessel for a new transformational sequence that has been pretty exciting. And so that has taken up a lot of mind space and a spiritual journeying space and physical space and emotional space, because when I go into these times it can be quite intense as far as allowing the information to flow through. And I got to work with a wonderful canine companion this week, and he taught me something. So I am going to pass that on to you. And what my wonderful canine friend said to me was, we were in a healing session with him, and he said, get some of this for you too, basically, is what he said. Are you applying this high frequency energy to yourself? And the answer is sometimes. And so he said, get on it, basically. So I'm passing it along. Are you applying the high frequency vibration of love and joy and peace and transformation? Are you applying, and this is different from prayer energy, this is sitting in a space, sitting in what we would call the void or source, sitting there and collaborating and just being in this frequency and not doing anything, allowing source to come to you. It's different from meditation. It is different from meditation. So one of the things that had happened was, one of the things that had happened was that I had asked for something. Excuse me. I'd asked for something, and I'd asked this person to show up, and I wanted them to show up. I wanted so deeply to be able to have a conversation with this person, and they showed up. But they showed up in the one way that I probably just, in my ego, could not tolerate. And I didn't get spiritual about it, and it's all spiritual, yeah? So I stayed in my third dimensional self, and I have not been able to talk with this person. And I was upset about it because I really cherish this relationship. And my friend and spirit said, you don't have to accept everything that comes along. The law of attraction, we plant, we sow, we reap, but sometimes we thought we were reaping heirloom tomatoes, we got a cherry tomato, and the cherry tomato is just not going to suit your need. So we can accept the cherry tomato because it must have shown up for some reason, or we can say, no thank you, it's just not going to suit my need. And in this case, it wasn't really healthy for me to engage in the way that I was being asked to engage. So I chose not to accept the invitation to talk. Am I still hoping that it comes back as a big, juicy, fat heirloom tomato? Absolutely. But just because it shows up, and just because you think you have attracted it in some way with that famous law of attraction, does not mean that you have to accept it. Know that there may be consequences for your decision, yes. But right now I'm waiting it out. It's part of the consequence. But the other piece of the consequence was that I was able to be in my own power and make a decision that was healthier. Okay, and not put myself in a situation that would not have been wise. So that is the preamble. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Namaste. Oh, we are so glad. We are so glad that she has settled down. Oh, no, 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 yeshke na na no yoko. It has been a very busy week. Ieke na no no yoko. And it is not the circumstance that she is talking about, but also the anoniyoko, the acceptance of the transformational sequences, yeshke na no yoko, and of course the everyday living that she does as a human, yeshke, living in this body. So we are very glad that she settled down and allowed us to come, because this message is really important for you all to understand. There's this wonderful thing called the law of attraction. It is an aspect of the one law, So there was many other things, many other forces, energies, that can come into play. So when you see something before you and you say, how did I attract this? And it may be polar opposite of what you were wanting. But the frequencies are in alignment. They're on a continuum. So you get to move yourself along the continuum. And that is part of the lesson. To say, oops, I landed in the wrong spot and I want to be here. And there are a lot of consequences for that, and a lot of lessons. And the first is that you have free choice, free will. So not everything that shows up, you must accept. You might be thinking you attracted it in. You may have been attracting in the lesson, and the lesson may have been just that you should not accept this. It's just that simple. So it's kind of a circular cycle at times. We see her going around and around and around. But look at the strength. And in this particular case, look at the growth. To say that I am important enough to not accept this, accept this value. Does that make sense? Accept this frequency of the same thing that I'm wanting, desiring. It hasn't shown up. You might even have to say that N word, needing. So there's energy and frequency and healing and transformation that you can put into a space. Because when something comes up and you don't wish to accept it, then apply healing energy, apply direct spiritual energy, in the way that you have in your belief system. Yes, we're not here to say that it has to be this new thing that she just learned. You have a belief system, you have a moral system, you have a value system, and you have a way that you talk with your source, with your God. Yes? So the one thing that we would like to say, and it is different from meditation, is that you can sit in the space of source, in the space of your higher learning, or higher self, higher God, source creator. You can sit in that energy and just be, and allow yourself to just be. Now there's something very important that we would say. A lot of times when Mercedes is working with somebody, she will say, I'll get back to you in the morning. Because she sits in this space, and it is not we are not psychic. So, many times if something were to come right then in that moment, it is a result of where you are in that moment. And you would have free will and choices to make. So anything that we would say would then be shifted because you have free choice, free will, and it would not necessarily show up as quote unquote predicted. Yes? Okay? So when you rest in the spiritual space, your spiritual source, the void, the universe, whatever you would wish to call it, creator, dynamic source energy. when you sit there, Ananayoshkona, and allow yourself to merge into it, because you are source, you are of that energy, you are that energy as well. So as you allow yourself to merge into it, transformation can occur. It is a wonderful thing to experience. And in that transformation, it may be that you have planted a cherry tomato seed unknowingly, when you really wanted to plant a heirloom tomato seed, and the big juicy tomato did not show up. This little puny, tiny, juicy, sweet, succulent absolutely has a purpose in the right recipe. Cherry tomato shows up, and you get to say, this is not exactly quite what I desired at this moment. It is not going to serve my needs, my purposes. It's not going to serve my highest good. It is a conundrum, because sometimes when the cherry tomato shows up and you have a knowing that you should accept the cherry tomato, and the recipe comes out just spectacularly magnificent, then you go, gee, I guess Source knew a little bit more than I did what was good for me at this moment, and I attracted exactly what I needed. But when it doesn't feel good, and it is not exactly what you wanted, you do not have to accept it. Some food for thought. We love you, we love you, we love you, and we wish you adieu.